Got it. So yes. Somebody named Barbara, welcome. Somebody chatted already. Christine, hi.
Hello.
Hello, Barbara. Wow. Okay. It's the temperature's okay, right? It's good. Not too cold. Not too hot. I probably don't need my hat. Okay. Wow. I really enjoy this. I get a little blown away by it too. But it's really nice to see you all and to see you guys on Zoom. And to see, oh, I see Saladana too. I guess, Carlos, you've connected. Okay. So, oh, is there a reason why you're way over there? Okay. That's okay. Who is new to Saladana? Okay, got a couple people. Welcome. And are you a meditator? Do you meditate? Yeah, and you as well? Okay, good. So yeah, for some of you, there's some people who have come back, who've been coming now for almost 6 years, close 5.5 years. We used to do this at my house in the living room, and then a couple years ago we moved here, and then COVID came and we weren't here so much, and now we're back. And then, yeah, got some new people on Zoom. So what we're going to do tonight, is we're going to meditate for about 30 minutes, 31 minutes or so. And I'll do hopefully just a little bit of guidance, in the totality of 30 minutes. Hopefully I don't talk more than 8 or 9, something like that. And I'll give a little instruction beforehand. And then we're going to have a little vote, a little election, because what we used to do before COVID, we used to have a tea break and like a social time, a sangha time. People could connect. And I don't want to do that unless everybody is comfortable with it. We're not going to have the tea yet, but I thought we might break out into, or just have a little social time where you can talk to somebody. And if the election loses, then we will just do the walking meditation, which we've been doing the last few weeks. Or you can just do walking meditation like over here, and you don't have to talk to anybody. Hope that made sense, and I'll explain it again when we get there. And then after that, we'll have a little discussion about Buddha Dharma. And what we're talking about are the 7 factors of awakening, which are here on this board. And I'll put one up for you guys online so you can also see if you don't know what they are. And then we will end with a little loving kindness, goodwill, metta meditation, which is usually how we end. Any questions, preguntas, doubts, fears, anxiety? Okay, so I'll just briefly give you a heads up of what the meditation will look like. So for the first 20 minutes, we're just going to practice coming back to a given object, a given anchor. It could be your body, your breath, could be sounds. We got the heater on inside the room, so you could even just listen to the sound and let it be your anchor. And then as we get towards around the 20-minute mark, I'm going to add some different instruction, and it's going to be similar to last week, where we are going to do a little investigation. And the investigation that we're going to do is whether you can notice whether your mind craves or wants, quiere, or whether it doesn't want, no le gusta, or whether it's confused and doesn't know what it wants. You have three choices. And just watch your thoughts and see whether you have craving thoughts, aversive thoughts, or confused thoughts. And there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. It's just an investigation. Okay? Okay. Is there somebody's missing? Still? Oh, she's on the phone. Okay. Wow, we have quite more people. Thank you all for coming. Julieta, Lara, Javier, thank you for showing us too, Javier, your face. I appreciate seeing you always. And Damien, why aren't you sitting right there where you usually sit? That's okay.
Because I just I've been in the Sierra all day and I just got in the door, so I wasn't going to make it.
Okay. I hope you're not too tired that you fall asleep during the meditation.
I hope not to.
Okay, what am I missing? I'm missing my timer. Let's just a couple more people. Got everybody's posture. Oh, Jesus, that posture is not gonna. I mean, it's kind of. Oh, there you go. Okay. It was ready to go. Good. Okay. You know, with the posture, which most of you have just beautiful looking postures, we want to try not to move. If you find that you're moving, then this would be a chance for investigation. Why are you moving? Is it because you want a more comfortable posture? And it's a desirous, wanting mind, right? Or is it because you're feeling a little discomfort and you think another posture will have less discomfort, in which case it's an aversive mind? Or you could be just so confused that you feel like you got to move. It's a really good, if you've got thoughts of moving, it's a really good moment to investigate your mind, what kind of mind you might have. What in the Buddhist context, they call it a personality. It's our personality. Are we a wanting personality, aversive personality, or a neither personality? This is an Indian gesture that might not mean to confuse at all. I have no idea, but it feels like confused to me. Okay. Are we ready there in Zoom as well? Here we go. I'm gonna make a noise, I bet. Yes, did. Okay, so let's find our bodies in these comfortable postures. Normally we close our eyes. If you have a practice where your eyes are open, that's perfectly fine too. You can just pick a spot in front of you, soft gaze. Normally in this Vipassana style, we close our eyes so we can really bring our attention inward. So first, let's find our bodies with our attention. So we direct the mind's attention to the seated posture, the body sitting. And just notice whatever sensations might be present. There might be little currents of energy flowing through the body. There might be sensation of pressure where the body touches the chair or the cushion or the floor. You might notice the weight of the body. Any way you can connect the mind to the body is just fine. No particular way needed. We're just trying to establish an embodied presence, an embodied awareness. Now you might have already noticed that your body is breathing. So you can use the body and its sensations as an anchor. You can use the posture, feeling the whole posture as an anchor. And you can use the body breathing as an anchor, feeling the rhythm of the breath as it goes in and out of the body. Or you can pick a spot even more specific for the breath. Maybe at the nostrils, or at the chest, or at the belly. Now, if you're feeling energetic or even anxious, then I suggest at the belly, feeling the breath at the belly, or using the whole body. And if you're feeling sleepy, I suggest a more centered spot, maybe the nose, the nostril. And if the body is just not a comfortable place for you today, then you can use sounds or hearing, where you just open up your ears and you just listen for whatever, and let that be your anchor. And what we're attempting to do is calm the mind down, center the mind, slow down the thoughts. But we need to do it gently. We need to do it with care, cariño. And so when your mind wanders, when it starts to get lost in thought, it obsesses, it plans, it worries, whatever, come back to an anchor. Pick an anchor. The body, the posture, the breathing body, the breath, sounds. You can experiment with a couple, but then try to pick one. And then just keep coming back to that anchor again and again with patience, curiosity, kindness, no judging, no criticizing, no wanting. Just open to whatever your experience is going to be. Let it unfold. Let it happen. Just observe it. Notice it. Experience it. if it's useful, helpful, you can label your experience with simple one-word labels, like with the breath, in, out, in, out. When you notice thinking, 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 returning, in, out. If you are still experiencing lots of persistent thought, maybe obsession or worry, you might try to direct the attention into the body and feel around for any sensation that might be connected to the thought, generated by the thought, or causing the thought. And if you find any sensation, just experience it, notice it, feel it. See if that doesn't interrupt the thinking, at least for a bit, a while. So hopefully the mind is a little more settled. And if you'd like to move into this second part, which would be much more like vipassana or insight meditation, allow whatever calls your mind's attention, whatever llama la atención, to be your anchor. So if it's sounds, sensations, the breath, thoughts, whatever calls you strongest, let it be the anchor until something else draws your attention. And then keeping in the back of your mind the investigation. Are you drawn to pleasure? Do you want something? Or do you don't want something? Are you trying to get something, or are you trying to get rid of something? Or neither, just kind of confused. We're just noticing patterns, noticing tendencies, noticing habits, just watching what the mind does without judging it, without criticizing it, and without identifying with it, as if it's somebody else's mind. Just noticing with curiosity. Oh, no matter where your attention has been, let's come back to the body. Reinfuse the body with attention, with awareness. Maybe the body feels different than it did 30 minutes ago. Might be some body parts sleeping, tingling, numb, maybe even some pain, discomfort. Or maybe the body's even more settled. Feel your whole posture. Maybe even imagine pushing your awareness beyond your physical form into your energetic field, feeling your skin and just beyond your skin. And then bringing your attention to your heart center, the chest area. Feel the heart center. And then thanking yourself mentally for your practice, the goodness of your practice, the fact that you've come here to Saladana either personally or through Zoom or YouTube to practice in this way, to care for yourself, to love yourself really. And then taking this gratitude, this goodwill, and then extending it out to those also present today, our Sangha, our community. And imagining that you can take that goodwill that we all share and we wish for each other and extending it out in all directions, touching all life. And when you hear the sound of the bell, just being aware of your personality trait. Is there grasping, wanting more, wanting less, not sure? It's all good. Well, thank you all very much for your practice. Very nice. So maybe before we have our little election as to what to do next, first I'd like to just check in, see if anybody has any questions or comments about meditation or about today's meditation, the practice. Anybody online as well? Could be anything, even something at home maybe you've been wondering about. Should I pick someone? Okay, well, I'll assume everybody's good. Okay, so now we will have our election. We have a democracy here, although I do have veto power. So as many of you know, we used to have a tea break. I think it was maybe 15 minutes or something, right? It wasn't particularly short. And besides having a cup of tea, we tried to practice mindful connecting, mindful communicating. So we're not going to do the tea yet, in part because we don't have volunteers to kind of pull that off, but that could come if volunteers step forward. So one option is we will have like a mindful connecting pause, a little break, where maybe we'll just stay with the people you're near, so we're not moving around too much. And then we'll just share. And, maybe the topic will be, what kind of mind, what kind of personality mind do you think you have? Is it, kind of the greedy one, or maybe greedy sounds harsh, but the kind of wanting or aversive or confused. And while we're talking, and there are actually retreats that do just these kinds of mindfulness practices, one person is talking and the other one or two, or maybe limited to three, are listening. And I do know that in Spain, there is a belief that if the other person who's supposed to be listening is also not talking, they're probably not listening. But let's put that aside, that cultural thing. And in this case, they're not talking, they're just listening. And especially for the listener, be aware of your bodily sensations. What is it like to just listen, right? And for those of you on Zoom, and you're going to be able to vote, and if we to vote to decide to talk, then I was going to try to do the small break, the small groups, which I haven't done in a very long time, but hopefully I won't mess it up. So be aware of the body, right? Is there like an urge to talk, to say something? Or is there, an urge to not even listen? I don't want to listen. Or, confusion or whatever it might be. And hopefully one person doesn't dominate. And within this, say, 12-minute period, everybody gets a chance. So that's option number one. And option number two is we don't talk at all. And we just do walking meditation, which is what we've been doing the last few weeks. So are we ready to vote? Do we have any questions? Questions? Okay, so we'll see if it's obvious, and I have no idea how this is going to land, quite honestly. Those of you who want to do a mindfulness connecting, talking pause, raise your hand. Wow, oh, okay, few, but not so many. Okay, interestingly. 6, 7, 8, 9, got about 10, 11. Okay, and those who want to do walking meditation, raise your hand. Uh-oh, we're gonna have to, I get on the Zoom group, it seems clear, but here, we're like a tie. That is interesting. So we have the confused group, right? We're not sure if we're wanting or not wanting. Interesting. Okay, give me some feedback. Why does somebody want to do walking meditation? Just tell me, anybody. Okay, it's a very good reason. One person wants to do walking meditation because she never has done it before. It's a very good reason. Anybody, why do they want to have the connecting, talking?
Very interested in the topic.
You're interested in the topic. Okay, so we have some person who wants to share about it because he's interested in the topic. Well, maybe what we're going to do then is we're going to try to do both. Okay, which means we will need to move around a little bit. But let's say me and the tree and the Buddha, we're like the line. Over on this side, walking meditation. And over on this side, talking meditation. And then for those of you online, you just tell me whether you want to be in a small group and I'll put you in a small group. Otherwise, you can walk. And we'll shorten it to 10 minutes. Okay, and we'll just give it a try. Does that sound like a plan? Any objections? Okay, so we're gonna split the difference. So talking will be over this way and walking will be over there. Oh, and okay, un moment. Ooh, that's terrible French. For those of you who have not done walking, oh, I should explain it. I explained the talking, but I didn't explain the walking. So for walking meditation, in fact, you guys all know how to do it. So I'm just gonna stand up. So what we do is we pick maybe 2 meters to just walk very slowly. And feel your feet. Feel your feet touching the ground. When your mind wanders off, just bring it back to the feet. If you're really skilled, you can even breathe or walk with your breath. You cannot do that. You walk about that far. Maybe mindfully turn around. Now, sometimes a more kind of a disciplined one is when you notice your mind thinking, you can actually stop. Just wait for the thought to pass. Once it's passed, start walking again. You don't have to do it that way, but I find it sometimes. Okay. So, any questions? Great. We're going to give this a try. Okay. So I will set it at 10 minutes or 11. I'm going to make it 11. It's probably going to take me a minute to figure out Zoom. Okay. So remember, one person talking at a time, groups of like 3. Okay. For those of you who want to talk. Okay. So who wants to do Zoom or small group? Anybody? Okay. Javier. Okay. Julieta. So let me make sure I can do this. I'm pretty sure I can. Sign manually. Okay. Oh, where are the people? Robert seems to want to walk. Javier, are you gonna join the group? There we go. Okay. Oh, it looks like we have much more people walking, so maybe we can stretch a little more this way. You don't need to all be, maybe use that pillar as the border. And I would say let's go the widthwise. So we're all going the same direction rather than having chaotic traffic. Let's all go this way. This would be more brilliant. Okay. Thank you all. That kind of worked. You know, my oldest daughter is a fifth grade school teacher, or well, she's actually leaving that post soon, but she said that the children coming back this year after this crazy COVID period are like emotionally kind of stunted, you know, and they're like still in third grade emotionally, and they're very awkward communicating with the other kids, and you know, they're more aggressive and stuff. Not that you guys were like that, but I made up, my mind made up that we also are still a little bit awkward socially compared to how maybe we were, you know, because it was interesting that like 4/5 of you ended up just doing silent walking meditation. And then just a smaller group ended up doing the social part. And yeah, this COVID year has been just really weird, you know? It's like, what is going on here? So, thank you for coming back. And maybe we'll talk a little bit. First of all, let me figure out what time it is. Yeah, okay. We're going to talk a little bit about the 7 factors, and I'm going to bring them up for our group online. Go. Wonder, can I hold on, try to make this bigger. Is there a way to do that? Maybe if I do full screen. Slightly big. Anyway, so we talked a little bit about mindfulness. I mean, you could talk about mindfulness forever. It's without mindfulness, none of this stuff is really possible. But we kind of abbreviated it. And then we've been talking about investigation, and we're going to finish talking about that today. And we might touch into the energy factor, the third factor, but the investigation and the energy, they really go quite close together. The investigation, these are all energizing factor: investigation, energy, and rapture. And then the other 3 are the calming factors. And the idea is when we have a curious, open mind, and we really want to know, like we want to know, what kind of personality does my mind have? You know, is it desirous, or is it aversive, or is it confused? That curiosity generates energy, right? Unless we were to hit some block, probably it's going to generate energy. So I brought the book today for those of you who are unfamiliar with the cover. The cover looks the same whether it's in English or Spanish and maybe any other language. And this is really, I think, the best book I know of on mindfulness as taught in early Buddhism. The 4 factors of mindfulness, the satipatthanas, And this is done by an American teacher by the name of Joseph Goldstein, who was the founder of the Insight Meditation Society and really kind of one of the founders, one of the founders of what you might call Western Vipassana meditation, Occidental Buddhism. So this is my Spanish copy. And then online here, I have. So did you guys on Zoom, do you now see the Kindle book or is it still the list?
I think it's the list.
Still a list, yeah.
Okay, so it's funny how I gotta like stop it and then maybe start it again or something. No, it should be the book, okay. So let's make sure, where are we? Whoops. Don't want to go to energy. So I just like reading from this book. It's like, there's no way that I could impart anything that's going to be as good as how Joseph Goldstein has written it and how he imparts it. I mean, he's been doing it for 50 years. And he does an annual 3-month silent retreat at his house at IMS and stuff. He's quite an extraordinary person. So I'm going to just pick a few of the things that I think are important, though. And we're going to start with this right here. Discerning what is skillful and what is not. We talked about this a little bit last week. You could almost say this is the reason why we want to observe our thoughts. We want to be mindful of our thoughts. So we can discern which ones are not helpful, which ones are causing us to suffer, and which ones are not. And in traditional, especially the Theravadan early Buddhist view, and I believe also in Mahayana and Tibetan Buddhism, the 3 roots of our suffering, the 3 poisons are these 3 things we've been talking about: greed, hatred, and ignorance, or delusion, we say it in English, but ignorance works as well, or confusion. And if you get underneath any form of suffering, it's probably one of those 3. Grasping, I want more, I want things to stay still, whatever it is, or I don't want that. Or the worst of them all is the confusion. And really, in a way, confusion underlies the other 2. Because if I just think that if I have more, right, if Saladana is just a little bit bigger, or maybe there's just a few of you more, or whatever, I'm going to be happy. That's a form of delusion, right? That's a form of ignorance. Because if I'm not happy with how it is now, how am I going to be happy if it's a little bit bigger or there's more of you, right? But this is the belief that we have, and this is a very common cultural belief. In fact, I'm gonna segue onto something. So one of my activities that I do, especially during COVID, is I watch these little YouTubes of American political comedians. Maybe I get most of my American news, political news, from these comedians. And one guy, Bill Maher, had on his show just last week how Greta Thunberg, is that the activist name, Thunberg? She has 13 million followers on whatever, I don't know, Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, whatever she does. She has 13 million followers. She's an activist, right? She doesn't use any carbon. She takes her sailboat when she wants to go someplace or whatever. She's like the real deal, right? When it comes to saving our planet. And then this guy points out that there is a lady, am I going to forget her name? Named Jenner, Kylie Jenner. Now this lady, who's the daughter of a former, I believe he changed to a she, but I think he was a sports figure, might have even been an Olympian or something, quite famous. And so she is known for her consumption. She has, for example, 1,000 pairs of shoes. She flies private jets. She just, looks always beautiful, and she's just consuming like crazy. She has 270 million followers. So whatever that works out to, that is like 20 times more followers than Greta. This is a perfect example of our culture, right? This is a perfect example of why the Buddha said we'd be going against the stream, right? You've got just a symbol of absolute excessive consumption going one direction with 270 million. That's how many Americans there are, practically going in one direction, and then you have Greta with 13 million going in the other, against the stream. So we're kind of up against the odds, right? People think if I just had 1,000 shoes, then I'd be happy, right? Of course, she hasn't even worn many of them. She has outfits she's never worn, and she puts on her whatever, I don't know, her closet and stuff like this. So this is kind of what we're fighting against, is we're not only fighting against the survival instinct of approaching that's good and avoiding that is dangerous, but we're going against culture, Western culture, and really, universal culture practically, of consumption, wanting more. But I can tell you, if she has 1,000 shoes and she's not happy, is 1,001 going to do it for her? Or 1,002? She has 270 million subscribers. Is 271 million going to make it? Probably not. The idea really is that we can be perfectly happy just as we are, just with what we got right here in this present moment, if we get out of these root causes of suffering. So that was a little segue. That was sort of impromptu. I wasn't really planning that, but I thought it would strike a chord. So here, this line here. The Buddha helps us with this discernment when he points out that unwholesome actions of body, speech, and mind are all rooted in greed, hatred, or delusion that we talked about. So we can notice this in our mind. Doesn't mean we are those thoughts. It doesn't mean we even own those thoughts. And it doesn't mean we identify with the thoughts. Instead, we just notice them. And sometimes that is all we need to do. We could have a thought of anger where we want revenge, or we want someone to hurt because they hurt our feelings, let's say. And all we have to do is turn the attention of awareness on that thought. We don't have to push it away. We don't have to hate it away. In fact, that doesn't help at all, because all we do is hate, and now we're stuck with this other hate. But mindfulness alone, just simple kind awareness, usually is enough to get it to go. And then something else is going to arise. And hopefully with practice, what arises is wholesome. Or, I'm not great, I'll be honest, at generating too many wholesome thoughts. So my tactic is I just try not to think at all. No thinking is always better for me, because if I allow my brain to think, it usually, the best thing it does is plan. And it does do a lot of planning. But I feel it, I feel, oh gosh, am I going to be able to pull that off? Is it going to be more expensive? I got to try another way, and I got a bunch of decisions going on, and the decisions are agitating my mind, and pretty soon I'm suffering. And there's not even any negative thoughts going on. It's just planning. But planning can surely lead to anxiety. It can lead to nervousness. It can lead to contraction. Especially, if we plan the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, which many of us do. It's like, okay, I've only thought about it 68 times. Let's see, one more time might do it. Okay, we talked a little bit about that last week, and I'm not going to do that this day. Okay, so here, you can see hopefully in blue, right? You guys see it online. Recognizing habit patterns of suffering. So I mentioned it was a podcast, that I listened to about addiction from a guy named Dr. Judd, I think his name was, Brewer. And he talked about how the mind can get addicted even to anxiety. Right? It's like, what a horror. I mean, I can imagine getting addicted to fun, or sex, or, love, or something like that. But it'll even get addicted to anxiety. It'll get addicted to depression, right? The mind, we humans, for whatever reason, we have a mind that creates habits quite easily. And maybe it's a survival technique, but it'll also create a habit on something that will cause us to suffer. So we recognize these habits and we cast the light of awareness, the light of mindfulness on them. All right, here. Oops, what did that do? Hold on. Right here. Sometimes the simple act of clear recognition, okay, that's basically mindfulness, clear recognition, clear knowing, okay, we know it clearly, is enough to come to a place of acceptance and letting go. All we have to do is know it, and nothing more is needed. Clarity of discernment through investigation of dhammas, so that's the various lists and laws that come from Buddhism, can bring acceptance because we are aligning ourselves accurately with the present moment experience. So I'll just parse this for a second because I think this is so important. Much of the time, we are confused, quite honestly, as to what we are experiencing. Our mind is influenced, our perception is influenced by causes and conditions that preceded it every moment. And so depending on what the causes and conditions have been, not only in our lifetime, but even prior lifetimes, our parents and so forth, influences how we perceive and experience the present moment. There's weird things like transference and projection and all this kind of stuff that goes on where we can often not even be sure what it is. But if we can see clearly, and the more clearly we can see reality as it really is, connecting with the present moment experience allows for the suffering to be released. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to cut through the ignorance, through the confusion, so we can see clearly. And it's wisdom, right? This is what we call it, wisdom. Wisdom is the knife that cuts through ignorance. Wisdom is the answer. And in like the Advaita Vedanta, which I also love very much, it's more of a Hindu non-dualist approach, but that's what it's all about, is wisdom. Wisdom cutting through ignorance. We don't have enough time to maybe finish this one. I kind of wanted to finish this, but this is important. So I think we'll talk about this next week. Seeing personality is not self. This is complicated, but vale la pena. So I'm going to just stop right there. Let me think, how can I remind myself? Maybe if I go like this, and I will do pink. Okay, I'm going to close that. So is there anybody who would like to say something or has a question or would like to share? Like maybe recently something really came up where it was obvious to you that this was not helpful. Maybe it was a thought pattern, maybe even a speaking pattern. We get into these habits even of speech, even of action. Right, where it's sometimes we'll say things that's like, where in the hell? Like I have this habit, I'll admit it, and this is not a habit that I wish I had, but I still have it. I have this habit of telling really stupid, unhelpful, not very nice jokes. I mean, I think they're jokes. Actually, a lot of times the people I tell it to, they don't think it's a joke. They're just like, look at me. what the hell was that? And it's like I see myself, I'm watching myself, and now I'm more aware of it than ever. And I'll be watching myself and I'm like, Jim, what are you doing? Stop. And I'll do it anyways. I'll tell this really dumb, I mean, usually they're slanted, usually not everybody looks good in my jokes. Somebody doesn't look good. Somebody is, whatever. So sometimes we get these habits of talking, habits of saying things, habits of being that are not wholesome, that are not conducive to our happiness. But the more aware we become, then the better chance, the better probability, higher probability we have that we're going to be able to let them go. Like this goddamn joke thing. Maybe swearing will come after the jokes, but first I'm going to do with jokes. Swearing, it might be a ways down the way. But this joke thing, I'm going to try to stop telling bad jokes. I told one yesterday. I'm like, oh my God. It was about Mexicans killing themselves. I mean, how is this even funny? This is not funny. Oof. Yeah, it's funny how I've still got it. Let that dude go. Okay, anybody else want to share how the dumb thing they do? Okay, well, next week, this will be the assignment. Okay, this is the homework. Next week, okay, Lada has one. Lada, please tell us.
Yeah, also just to match your embarrassment, I repeat dialogues. So when I have an argument with somebody or a non-argument that I haven't had yet, I start repeating all the smart things that I'm gonna say, and I get really angry, and they're not even aware. Yeah. I'm going through that phase now with the neighbor, and when I become aware that I'm doing that and that it's unskillful, most of the times what I find underneath is quite skillful. Maybe I realize that I'm fearful, or that I feel that I don't know, that I have no control over what's happening, or there's quite some truth underneath. But if there's no stopping or no investigation, that I never realize, and I get trapped in this for days, maybe on that conversations that I'm having. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a very good example. I have that one too. Yeah, thank you. So that'll be your homework for this week, is to come back, and I'm going to just randomly but see if you can identify an unwholesome pattern of thinking, talking, or acting that you might have in your life. See if we can uncover some. Okay, well, why don't we end with a little meditation? Does that sound okay? For those of you who are new to metta, this is a Pali word, not the Spanish word metta, a Pali word that can mean loving kindness. It's sometimes been translated. It can mean goodwill, benevolencia, algo así. And the idea is to offer this goodwill first to ourselves, and it's like what we did at the end of the meditation earlier, but first to ourselves, then we'll do it actually to the Sangha today, to those of us in the Sangha, and then we're going to do a difficult person, somebody who maybe has hurt your feelings or what have you, and then we end with all beings. Okay, so I'm going to say some phrases, and then you could say the phrases mentally to yourself, and we'll go like that. Okay, so I often, again, put my hands on my heart center. This is considered a heart practice, they call it. Brahma Viharas. Starting with I, for some people, this is almost the most difficult, but give it a try. May I be happy. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I live with ease, ease and comfort. So now we'll send it out to our Sangha, those on Zoom or YouTube and here in Saladana. May we be happy. May we be well. May we be safe. May we live with ease, ease and comfort. So now the difficult being, the difficult person. So try to imagine, remember somebody who recently might have hurt your feelings or made you angry, did something or didn't do something you wanted. Imagine them right here. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease and comfort. And now all beings in all directions without exceptions. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease and comfort. And finally, in the tradition of renunciation, letting go, dana, giving, we'll offer up the fruits of our practice today, our community, our Sangha, the teachings, our Buddha nature, offering these up for the benefit of all beings. May all beings be happy and peaceful, healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free from war and violence, discrimination, racism, and free from coronavirus. And may all beings find their path, find the roots of their suffering. May all beings find the energy to investigate and practice mindful awareness. May all beings be free. Thank you all very much. Just a couple announcements. So first about dana, which is a Pali and I believe Sanskrit word that means various things, but means generosity or giving, dar. And here at Saladana, this is what we are practicing. We are doing a little experiment of not charging for any of the classes, nor the hall doesn't charge the teachers, not the students. And we're doing this from our hearts, from this what would you exactly call it? A cultivation. Yeah, we're cultivating this generosity, right? And so you also can do the same, cultivate generosity. You can leave a financial donation for us. There are a couple boxes in the entrada. When I'm here, you can just put it in the Saladana box, which right now is the smaller box. But when other teachers are here, many of them do depend on the generosity of their students to help them pay their bills and stuff. So you can use also the maestra box. And to let you know, so all the activities now of Saladana have been given to a new association, the Asociación Nacional Danasati. And this is one that Carlos and I and a couple other Sangha members have organized. And we are in the process of setting up a bank account. It's not done yet. It'll probably take a couple weeks. But when that happens, then there'll be other ways that you can help the hall financially through a donation using BISM, yeah, or just a transfer or whatever. So we're really excited about that. And this association is also kind of opening up opportunities for things, right? And so if you want to do some volunteer work, if you want to volunteer here at the hall at Saladana, we're definitely looking for a painter. Somebody knows how to paint cierres, to paint the outside ones. I was thinking maybe one of a Bodhi tree, maybe one of a Buddha, or maybe do a Ganesh or whatever. Also to keep, hopefully, the street artists from doing it for us, right? We could do our own. Somebody already tagged us, but I think we'll be able to clean it. And in other things, like maybe helping it with the tea if we get to that, or just helping us keep the place kind of clean. I'm not going to be here in Madrid as much as I have been, and so I'm going to very much depend on other people to keep it going and fix things. We have a bathroom door lock that isn't quite working, and there's always things to do, right? But the idea is this is going to go on, hopefully forever, and we need to kind of keep it that way. Keep it well greased and ready to roll. Let's see. And in terms of our classes, so now I think there's like 25 different things happening here, yoga and meditation. There's also a Thursday, if you like to hear the Dhamma in English, Thursday afternoon. We also have one normally run by Martina or Josie. And then there's several in Spanish. And we've got Jose Manuel Martin is his name, right? He's now doing a super duper one on Saturday, 3 hours, and he's also doing one Thursday mornings, 10:30 to noon. I'm really excited about that. Chem on Monday. Our Fordo now is 32, so we can start to fill it up, and hopefully it'll keep growing. And yeah, I think that's it in terms of announcements. Many people go out to vegetarian dinner afterwards. Everybody's welcome. That's it. Yeah. I thank you all for coming. It's such a privilege and an honor to do this. And it really is the high point of my life. It's why I'm still in Madrid after these almost 7 years is because of the Sangha, quite honestly. So, yeah. And thank you guys for coming on Zoom. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for coming, and hope to see you real soon. You can also help us clean up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. The chairs have gotten a little kind of in different places, but maybe we could put them over on this wall, the chairs. Okay. All right. Thank you all, you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Javier.